Welcome to Soulful Success by Design, the podcast for women who are done playing small, done following the rules, and ready to create success on their own terms. I'm Kendra Woods, a soul-aligned business mentor, 6'2" splenic projector, and the midwife to women's breakthroughs. For nearly a decade, I've been guiding ambitious women like you to step out of old paradigms of success and step fully into your next evolution through the art of human design, mindset, quantum energetics, and identity work. Here, we treat business like what it truly is, a sacred creative process, a place to embody your becoming. So if you're ready to rise, ready to rewire how you think about success, and ready to lead from your soul, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Soulful Success by Design, the podcast for women who refuse to choose between strategy and soul, who are building businesses and lives that feel as good as they do on paper. So today I want to talk to you about a phrase that slips out of our mouths way more often than we realize. And we say this phrase in different ways, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to the energy that it encompasses. And last week, I had a full week of working with my private clients and facilitating masterminds last week. And I noticed this as a thread that kept showing up in the conversations that I was having. And so I thought, what better way to dive deeper into this and to help you understand the essence, the energy behind this phrase that we tend to say and how to rewrite that narrative and really anchor into what I'm calling the 5 infinite mindset anchors for high-level soul-led businesswomen. And the phrase that comes up often is, "This is hard." And now I know if you're listening to this, you're already a high level woman. You're not over here crying in the corner about your business, like, oh, I can't do this and I don't know how to make it happen. You've gotten results, you've got momentum, but still the phrase has a tendency to sneak in. And maybe you say it in an elevated way. Maybe it sounds like you saying, oh, this season feels so heavy, or this stretch is so intense, or I feel like I'm carrying a lot. It sounds different, but underneath, it's the same frequency. It's the frequency of resistance. And when we start identifying with heaviness, even in small ways, we begin to leak energy into struggle instead of expansion. And so, what I want to offer you today is, what if it's not hard? What if it's just new? What if it's simply stretching you, but you don't have to be in the energy of, oh, this stretch is intense? And so I want to offer you a new way to be in relationship and engage with your growth, with your seasons of becoming. So I want to walk you through how to shift out of this it's hard narrative and into a way of thinking that feels infinite, that feels grounded, that feels powerful. And I'm going to share with you the 5 infinite mindset anchors that have radically shifted how I hold my own business and how I show up in my own life and how I like to guide my clients to hold themselves in their lives and business as well. And this is important. I'm saying life and business because as women, yes, there are many things that we are holding. And a lot of times, your business and your life, there's going to be some overlap there. And we need to know how to walk through each area of our lives from a place of alignment, from a place of power, so that we can continue to build our resilience so that we can continue to evolve, so that we can continue to become and develop ourselves into the woman who knows how to walk with all the things. So let's start here. Here's what I want to share with you. Every word that you speak is a spell. And I know that that probably sounds dramatic, but it's true. When you declare in any way, shape, or form, this is hard, what you're doing is you're labeling your experience and you're handing your subconscious the blueprint to make it true. And for high level women, we don't always say it outright. Instead, it shows up in more polished phrases like, I'm really in a challenging season, or I feel like I'm pushing a boulder up a hill, or even growth always comes with struggle. Or I've even heard this one, and I have a little bit of, when I hear women say this, I kind of squirm a little bit. New level, new devil. And I'm like, why does it have to be a devil, right? Because we have so much negative association with this idea of the devil, right? And so essentially, when we say new level, new devil, we're saying like new level, new, negative stuff. And so I really want to shift the conversation here and help you to completely shift what you're saying and also the energy beneath it. And so, and here's the thing, let me be honest with you, no matter how elevated we make it sound, no matter how elevated you're making this is hard sound, the vibration is the same. It's the energy of pressure, resistance, and this undercurrent of this shouldn't feel this way. And I'm bringing this up too because I've been here. I remember times in my business when I would say to myself, "Oh, this feels so heavy," or "Oh, this I'm expanding into a new level and I'm feeling stretched to my capacity." Um, and it felt true, right? Because every time I've reached a new level in my own becoming, in my own growth, in my business, it was new territory. And so it felt like the truth. But what I realized is the more I said it, the more I kept showing up and speaking in this elevated way about these new levels that I was reaching or this season that I was in, the heavier everything felt. Okay. The heavier everything felt. And what I noticed, the first thing I noticed is that my creativity begins to dry up. And so I know when when the ideas aren't pouring in, when I'm not feeling inspired, when I'm not feeling motivated, I have to tune in and really check in with myself and say, okay, what energy am I leading with here? And get really honest with myself about the energy that I'm leading with because it spills over into everything. And so this energy, uh, and when I think back along my journey, like I can see that energy, how it flowed into my launches. And I would do a launch for something. And while I was excited about it, I could feel this heavy energy. It felt like, gosh, why is this so exhausting? I'm so tired. It feels, right? It felt heavy. And it was because of the energy that I was leading with. And then there came a point where I thought, wait a minute, and I even used to tell myself, you can do hard things. And again, if we're not careful, that can sound like a really empowering phrase, but we've got to look at the energetic energy beneath it. So I can say to myself, Kendra, you can do hard things. And I can lead from an energy of empowerment, like, you've got this, you're capable, you can do this. And that's how I choose to see this now. But then I ask myself, I'm going to ask myself the question, like, what if this isn't hard? What if it isn't hard? What if this is simply me learning how to hold more? And that little reframe really cracked open something in me because when I began to shift my language, you know what happened? My body began to shift. My nervous system stopped bracing for impact and I could actually breathe. And I felt lighter. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just learning. That's all that's happening. It reminds me of my journey with running. And I don't know if I've shared this here on the podcast, but there was a time in my journey when I first started my running journey when I would have to listen to music because if I heard myself breathing heavy, it triggered something in me that made me feel like something was wrong. And so then I would listen to music so that I wouldn't hear myself breathing and it wouldn't take me out mentally, right? Because for me, running and exercises, it's really a mental game. Okay. And so what I realized during that time is, and I reframed it, and I would tell myself when I would hear myself breathing, maybe, the music got low or my a song was shifting into another song, moving into another song, and I would hear myself breathing, I would just say, Kendra, it's okay. Like your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. You're literally running right now. You are pushing your body. So of course you're going to breathe heavier. Of course your heartbeat is going to beat faster. Of course you're going to feel a little out of breath. But all of these things are happening because you're building up your capacity to run longer and further. And it's the same thing in your journey of becoming, in your journey of growing your business. There are going to be things that you do that after you've done them for a while, you're like, oh, it's like second nature. You're not thinking about them so much. But the moment you begin to step into a new level, or the moment you begin to maybe you raise your rates, or you decide that you're going to finally just let yourself be fully expressed in who you are and just be vulnerable and authentic and transparent. And that feels good to you on one side, but then there's another side of you that feels like, oh, I don't know, like this, I'm feeling a little resistance in my body. That's where we get to reframe it and just recognize that, okay, I'm simply just learning how to hold myself while I'm being vulnerable. I'm learning how to hold myself while um, raising my rates and putting higher price points on my offers. I'm learning to hold myself while I show up and do live videos and hear my voice, right? Like you're growing, you're getting stronger. And so when we shift our language, we are giving our subconscious and our nervous system new instructions. And that's the power of your words because your words just don't describe your reality, they shape it. They shape your reality. So the question becomes, okay, so what do we do instead? And so what we do instead is we anchor into language that expands us instead of contracting us. And if you really pay attention to how the phrases that you say feel in your body, you will get this. And so this is where, it's so important to bring awareness of our body on board. And I think that this is also where a lot of the times um, we can fall into this narrative of, oh, this is hard, or I don't know what to do next, because you consciously have this vision of where you want to go and what you want to create. But when you're not tapped into your body and what it's communicating to you, it's like you're just hitting a wall and you can't see any other options or any other possibilities. But when we begin to bring our body along on the ride and we recognize that, oh, wait a minute, the way that I'm speaking, the way that I am describing when I'm moving through, it's actually making me feel heavy in my body. I can actually feel my body contracting. It doesn't feel light, it doesn't feel expansive. When you can bridge that gap and bring that together, that's really when you begin to fully step into your power. And you can recognize and choose to say, oh, wait, I need to shift this language. You can play with the language and feel how it feels in your body to know what is an alignment for you. So instead of saying things like, this is hard, we can start saying, this is refining me, or this is me expanding into the capacity for what I've been asking for. Yeah. Or you could still say, like, this is stretching me, or this is growing me. That's what I like to say. This is growing me. Do you feel the difference? Right? One feels heavy and impossible. This is hard. That feels heavy and impossible. The other feels like growth. This is refining me. This is expanding me into the capacity of what I've been asking for. That feels like growth, like strength being built in real time. You're not here to collapse under the weight of your business or your life. You're here to become the woman who can hold the business and life that she desires. And so that brings me to what I want to share with you next, the 5 infinite mindset anchors. These are anchors that I return to whenever I feel myself slipping into the it's hard narrative. And so, what I want you to do is to think of these like mental touchstones. So, when you feel yourself drifting into heaviness, you can come back to these and recenter into your truth. And you don't need to, you know, commit these to memory or be like, or think that you've got to repeat all 5 of these, but like choose one. Like maybe you choose one of these a week. And when you feel yourself drifting into that heaviness, you can just put your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and say one of these infinite mindset anchors to help you to remember, your power, to help you remember that you are capable, that you are powerful, and that you are simply in a season of growing. Okay. So the first anchor that I want to share with you is, my success is inevitable because I keep going. And so what this means is you're saying to yourself, okay, I don't collapse in slow seasons. I don't quit when I'm in the dip, right? The most successful women I know aren't the ones with the perfect plan. They're the ones who keep showing up even when it feels like nothing's working. Okay. And so this isn't about necessarily about what you do, it's who you become when you really anchor into this. It's about saying, this is who I am. I am the kind of woman that knows her success is inevitable because I'm going to keep going. And when you choose to adopt this mindset, everything changes because inevitability takes the pressure off timelines, right? If I can show up each day and believe that my success is inevitable because I'm going to keep showing up, then that pressure of, oh, I should have been there already, or that pressure of, I want to get there in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, that goes away. And what happens is you open up yourself and your mind and your energy to the infinite journey. You're not trying to contract your journey or your success into a particular timeline because you know that if you simply just keep showing up, your success is inevitable. It is there. It can't not show up, right? Okay, mindset anchor number 2. Everything I create compounds. I love this. And I remind myself of this every single day. This is one that I do when, like, for example, as I am recording this podcast, I'm reminding myself of this. Like right before I hit record, I reminded myself of this. When I post something online, I remind myself of this because it's so easy to look at a post, a launch, or or like a conversation or a podcast episode that you've recorded and think, well, that didn't do anything. Okay. It's easy to look at something you've posted and maybe you didn't get the external validation of the likes or the hearts or the comments and think, well, nothing happened. Right? But in reality, every single thing that you create is building momentum in the unseen. And the way that I look at it is every time I put out a post, a new podcast episode, every time I create a new offer and I launch it, like everything that I do in my business, my mindset is, oh, I'm building a body of work. I'm building my body of work. And I know that things are just compounding and compounding and compounding in the unseen. So even if you can't see it yet, trust that the field is catching up to your frequency. This is how you step out of the instant gratification trap, okay, and end up building something real. Because your business is not about how many likes or comments you get on your post or how many views you get on your video. Like your business and your mission and what you're here to do is so much bigger than that. But for some reason, it can be so easy to zero in on that and then make meaning out of that. And then we're in this whole spiral of it's not working, it's hard, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So remember this mindset anchor. Everything I create compounds. All right. The third infinite mindset anchor is time is my ally, not my enemy. Time is my ally, not my enemy. So you are not behind. You are not late. Your pace isn't the problem. So when you stop fighting time and you start walking with it, you can begin to create from clarity and not desperation. And I see this happening too, right? Maybe you're in a position where you're like, oh, I need my business to make money like right now. And what happens is you go out and you start creating, but you're not creating from this clear, grounded place. You're creating from this place of scarcity, of urgency, of fear. And when we create from that place and we're sending out that energy, that's exactly what we keep compounding and what gets, and then as we're compounding this, we are just recirculating that experience back to ourselves. Okay. So for a high level CEO, creating from clarity is everything because urgency creates frantic moves, right? And it feels like you're just throwing spaghetti against the wall, but clarity creates legacy. Clarity creates legacy. All right, the fourth infinite mindset anchor, and I just alluded to this one a few moments ago, but number four is I'm building a body of work, not chasing viral moments. And like I've already said, I this is my favorite um mindset shift to anchor into because this one is huge. When we're focused on quick wins, what ends up happening is we end up compromising our deeper vision. But when you begin to think in terms of body of work, content, offers, relationships, what happens is you then truly begin to start creating from your soul. Your business becomes timeless and you stop trying to impress and you start truly serving. You start serving when you can look at everything in your business as a body of work. And so, one of the things that I don't want to say I've struggled with, but I've noticed the tension within me as I've been in this for almost a decade now is I've seen so many trends come and go on different social platforms. And I've always been like, I've always resisted that. I'm like, I'm not doing like, when Reels first came out and everyone was dancing all over the videos. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And it's not because it's wrong. It's just wasn't in alignment for me. It's not in alignment for me, you know? And so because for me it's not about like, oh, let me create this video and use the right music and do the right thing and do the thing that everyone's doing so that I can get views. For me, it's not about um quantity, it's about quality. I want quality people and eyes on my work, not just somebody who's like scrolling through trying to get a quick like dopamine hit. I want someone who is in that space of really wanting to connect on a deeper level, who wants to expand their way of thinking, who is looking at, long-term growth. And so it's not about chasing a viral moment. Oh, what can I do? What can I post? What can I say? I've seen this in the industry too, where people, certain coaches in the industry will say things that are highly polarizing because they want to, grab your attention and get that engagement. Yeah, no, if I have to do that in order to get your attention, then what do I have to do to continue to maintain your attention? Like that, that is not in alignment for me. Maybe that's something that feels good for you, but that's not something that is important to me. And I believe like the women that I work with, that's not their thing either. They're like, they want to build something that is meaningful to them, right? This is about legacy building and not like in the moment quick wins that make you feel good, but there's no real like substance and quality to the work. Okay. All right. So the fifth infinite mindset anchor is I am the continuity. And here's what this means. Even when strategies shift, even when results take time, I remain. You are the constant in your business, your voice, your energy, your presence. So when you realize this, everything that you build compounds because you are the anchor. You are the thing that remains. So it's not about like, oh, I'm shifting strategies and now I'm starting all over again. No, because you are the continuity. You are the thing that remains and that's moving this vision and mission forward. And when you can lead with this way of thinking, everything that you do is just compounded, compounded, compounded. And you begin to see that every single move that you've ever made matters. Everything that you do matters. It's not just, oh, that one thing that I did, that strategy that I did, oh, it worked and it created, X amount of dollars for me, or it created X amount of new people in my audience. That is great, but your business is more than that, right? It's more than just that one moment. It's everything that you did leading up to that has compounded to that point. You are the anchor. And so if you think about yourself as the anchor in your life and in your business, what changes then, right? How do you then begin to view how you're showing up and what you're creating? Okay. All right. So here's what I want you to take away. Every time you catch yourself thinking, this is hard, or this feels heavy, or I feel stuck, or I feel like I'm pushing a boulder up a hill, I want you to pause and I want you to ask yourself, is it actually hard? Or is this simply, or is this expanding me? Is this refining me? Is this teaching me how to hold more of what I've been asking for? And so when you root into these five infinite mindset anchors, you stop leaking energy into struggle and you start holding yourself like a woman whose success is inevitable because it is. And so if you're ready to go deeper, if you know that you need support, desire support around rewriting these subtle but powerful patterns so you can lead your business with more ease, alignment, and potency, then I invite you into my soul aligned mentorship. I have spaces available right now for this sacred experience. This is where we do the real work, the inner rewiring that lets you build from power and not pressure, that helps you understand through the lens of like of your human design, how you're designed to show up, that helps you to shift your identity in such a way that you relate to yourself and your business in an elevated and empowered way. And so if this is the work that you know that you need to be doing, because here's what I believe. I believe that I believe in this idea like business as becoming, right? Or becoming as business, however you want to look at that. I really do believe that because that's been my experience. My business has been an integral piece of my becoming, of my growth. And so I see business as becoming because it's not about just these external vanity metrics and numbers and all that. It truly is for me. It's about the process that I have gone on over the almost decade that I've been doing this. It's about that process, that journey that has brought me to the woman that I am today and the becoming and the unfolding of my becoming and the growth that has happened, the evolution that has happened that makes me so freaking excited about this work that I get to do for myself and that I get to ripple out into the world with the people and the clients that I work with. It is about who you're being. It's about who you're being. So you can DM me the word soul over on Instagram. I'm at Soulful Success by Design, or you can check the link in the show notes to explore us working together and we can have a conversation to see if it is the right next step for you. All right. And I want you to remember that you're not here to chase timelines. You're here to become timeless. Let that sink in. All right. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Soulful Success by Design. If you enjoyed our conversation and found value in it, please leave a rating and review on iTunes to help me continue bringing more inspiring content your way. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Soulful Success by Design or visit my website at kendrakwoods.com for extra inspiration and resources. I appreciate you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. Until then, remember to create success from your soul and on your terms.